Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button. Trust us, it'll be worth it. Thank you. What is up, everyone? I am Chris Knight, and you are watching The Real Review 3000, and today is the day you've all been waiting for. The day where I'm going to tell you what I think about the new trilogy, the new Star Wars trilogy, the end of the Skywalker saga. Are you ready for this? I'm going to tell you everything I think about this trilogy. Well, I'm going to think about it for a minute. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Actually, here's the deal. This isn't really a trilogy. A trilogy requires connectivity. It requires tendons and fingers and stuff within each other, and it holds on like this really tight and makes it hard to pull apart. The thing is while you might be able to connect the Force Awakens with The Rise of Skywalker, you can't really connect The Force Awakens to The Last Jedi to The Rise of Skywalker. There's really no connectivity from one to the next, and the little bits and pieces you get that are the same or that do carry over from one movie to the next just don't have a strong tie. While you see the same characters, you see the same ships, you see some of the same worlds, you hear some of the same names and some of the same things, and the Force is in it. It doesn't connect, though. Think of it this way. Lethal Weapon has 4 movies. And while each of them are separate on their own and not completely reliant on one another, they still carry on and connect to one another. Lethal Weapon, you meet Martin Riggs and Roger Murtaugh. In the next one, they add a person. They add Leo Getz. In the next one, they add another person. And in the fourth one, they add more people. But in each one, they add, but they don't take away any. And they make sure that each of these people continue to have a part in the next movie. Star Wars doesn't necessarily do this. This trilogy does not necessarily do that. They have people who are the same. And sometimes their characters are about the same, but their importance has changed. And the worst case of this is during The Last Jedi. Poe and Finn both take a step back, and Rey doesn't really go anywhere in The Last Jedi. Nothing really happens to her. She doesn't gain anything. She doesn't lose anything, really. And this is the problem with this group as a movie, as a trilogy. It doesn't really have that beginning, middle, and end of a story, because that's how the trilogy is supposed to work. A New Hope was the beginning. It introduced the people. The Empire Strikes Back puts stakes out there, makes you have to work for something, learn something, and then the Return of the Jedi, they actually resolve what the whole thing was about. But this one doesn't really start with anything and continue it through The Last Jedi and then bring it home and conclude it in The Rise of Skywalker. Point to that fact is they kill off Snoke in the middle. And that is obviously never what was planned. And it's so obvious. You don't even have to know who directed the Last Jedi. You don't even have to know that Rian Johnson purposely changed things just to do it. And he played with the mythos, and he changed things on purpose, probably to piss people off. You don't have to know that. You can feel it. You can see it. And then when they get to The Rise of Skywalker, it's even more apparent because they flip and try to go backwards on so many things. While I liked each of these movies independently, for different reasons. Mostly just the look, the feel, the way that it came across as a movie, popcorn flick, which is all they're worth, really. It's just something to go and watch. And Trust me, the whole trilogy to this point right now, I have watched all 3 films a total of 9 times. And I have to say, of all of the movies that Disney has released, the only one that really holds its weight as a true Star Wars movie is Rogue One. And that fits so well into the original trilogy that every time I watch it, I jump right into A New Hope. I don't feel like I have to go from Return of the Jedi to The Force Awakens. I don't feel like I have to because it doesn't feel like it really goes that direction. These feel like a completely separate entity, not even needing the original legacy characters. You could have taken Han, Leia, Luke, Chewie, R2, C-3PO, Lando. You could have taken all of the original characters out of this movie, and it still would have played very similar to how it did. There's lackluster storytelling, thin plot details, no backstory, no exposition, which this has to have. No matter as much as George Lucas didn't like giving exposition, he knew when you had to do it and did it. This movie, in every context, when it takes so long, when it's happened so long after the original trilogy, in the 6th movie, they have to give that exposition. They have to tell you what happened to Luke. Why is Luke the way he is? Or what led to him really being like that? What was Luke doing? Did Luke train Leia? Who were the Knights of Ren? All of this stuff is needed as exposition to help the movie along. And then you can't tell us about the Knights of Ren and then just move right along into nothing. In 7, they talk about the Knights of Ren, but they're not there. In 8, the Knights of Ren aren't even talked about. They're not even shown. And yet they keep going with it. And then you finally see them in the 9th movie. The Rise of Skywalker had a lot of cool things in it, but it doesn't complete anything. It rehashes. It plays more like The Return of the Jedi than even The Force Awakens plays as A New Hope. This trilogy is a failed narrative of what Disney has done to Star Wars. And if anything, Disney needs to look within Lucasfilm for the people who really know Star Wars, who have lived Star Wars, who know how to handle Star Wars, and look to them to take over Lucasfilm. Not somebody like Kennedy who wants to change what Star Wars means and say that the Force is a female. The Force isn't a female, it's not a male. It is the Force. It is everything around us. It breathes in us. It lives in us. That's what the Force is. And she doesn't even acknowledge that. They don't acknowledge the EU. You need somebody to that has the balls to say the EU still exists and we're going to use it because that's what Star Wars is. Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, those are the 2 that I really believe can do it. So what do I think about this trilogy? It is a failed narrative of what Disney doesn't know because they go to the wrong people. And then when somebody or a group of people like the Phantom Menace tells them this, and then they start to listen, but they mess it up so royally. This is a failed narrative of how they can't listen, and even when they do listen, they don't understand. I don't believe Star Wars is dead. I believe it's misguided, and I believe right now it is in its state of turmoil. And I believe that we, as the Phantom Menace, can move this group, Lucasfilm, forward and help them figure out who the right people are to move Star Wars forward. We know we've got The Mandalorian, which is fairly decent, and it has a great chance of helping the fandom along. Obi-Wan looks like it's going to be really good if Margaret Cho does a good job, which she has done a good job with The Mandalorian, so there's no reason to believe she can't do it with Obi-Wan. And we know we're going to probably get a couple more Disney Plus series with Star Wars themes. And then in a couple years or more, hopefully, Kennedy's gone, and hopefully somebody like Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni is in charge of Lucasfilm, and we can look at doing a movie that is a true Star Wars movie that honors canon, that honors characters that are within the Star Wars universe, and especially the EU. It would be great to see that. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, I really want to know. Let me know what you think of this as a whole trilogy. And that's what I've always said. I said I was going to wait till the end, wait till The Rise of Skywalker came out, and that I was going to give my full opinion of what I thought. And I have now. And as much as I would love to say that this is a full trilogy and that it works well within itself and that it fits its clothes and all that, it doesn't. It's an awkward teenager that doesn't understand life, that can't figure out exactly what it wants to be or who it wants to be, and it just goes out in the world and it does its best, so it's awkward. And it's kind of painful to watch at times because you want to love the teenager. You want to be there for the teenager, but you're like, this is an awkward time for you, and I'm not even sure if I can help you through it. But let me know down in the comments below, guys. Don't forget, I asked you to smash that like button and to hit that subscribe button. Please do that. And also remember to hit that bell. That bell is really important. It tells you when we're coming out with new stuff. With that said, guys, I am Chris Knight. This is the Real Review 3000, and I'm officially out of here.
Hey guys, make sure to subscribe to both channels, and make sure to check out our friends in the Fandom Minutes. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and BitChute, and you can also send us an email at sean@seanstackhousereacts.com and chrisknight@therealreview3000.com. And be sure to swing by our Teespring store to pick up some awesome merchandise.